You text them, they don't reply for hours, and suddenly you can't stop thinking about them. Not because you're weak, because your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. When someone pulls back, something shifts inside you. You tell yourself you shouldn't care, that you're fine, but you refresh the conversation, check their activity, replay the last interaction in your mind. The less available they become, the more mental space they occupy. You start questioning yourself. Did I say something wrong? Are they losing interest? Should I reach out again? And here's the part that confuses you most. When they were consistent, you felt calm, maybe even bored. But now that they're distant, you feel alive. This isn't love. It's not even attraction in the way you think. It's your nervous system responding to uncertainty. You're not broken. You're not too much or too little. You're experiencing a predictable psychological response that has been studied for decades. Your attachment system doesn't distinguish between healthy connection and inconsistent stimulation. It only knows one thing. Uncertainty demands attention, and attention feels like significance. Let's talk about what's actually happening in your brain. There's a principle in behavioral psychology called intermittent reinforcement. It's the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. When a reward is unpredictable, your brain releases more dopamine than when the reward is guaranteed. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical, it's the anticipation chemical. It fires hardest when you don't know if you'll get what you want. So when someone is distant, your brain interprets that as maybe not, try harder, pay attention. And you do. Now layer in attachment theory. If you grew up in an environment where love was inconsistent, where affection came and went without warning, your nervous system learned to stay alert. It learned that closeness requires vigilance, that you have to earn someone's presence. So when an adult relationship mirrors that pattern, it doesn't feel foreign, it feels familiar. And your brain mistakes familiarity for compatibility. There's also something called the Zeigarnik effect. It's a cognitive bias where your mind fixates on unfinished tasks more than completed ones. An open conversation, an unresolved tension, a relationship that never fully commits or fully ends. Your brain doesn't like open loops, so it keeps running background processes trying to resolve them. That's why you think about them more when they're unclear, not because they're special, because your mind is trying to close the loop. Here are 5 psychological markers that reveal when distance is manipulating your attachment system, not deepening real connection. Real attraction builds during presence. If you only feel intensity after they disappear, that's not desire. That's anxiety dressed as longing. Ask yourself, do I want them, or do I want the discomfort to stop? When someone is distant, your mind starts filling in the blanks. You imagine what they're thinking, what they're feeling, why they're pulling away. This is called projection. You're not connecting with who they are. You're connecting with the story you're creating about them. The fantasy feels more compelling than the reality ever did. Healthy attachment regulates your nervous system. You feel grounded, safe, present. Anxious attachment dysregulates it. If being around them or waiting for them makes your body feel like it's on high alert, that's not chemistry, that's hypervigilance. Your body is in a low-grade stress response, and your brain is misinterpreting that adrenaline as passion. Notice where your attention goes. Are you asking, what do I actually feel when I'm with them, or why aren't they texting back? When your focus is entirely on their patterns, you've outsourced your emotional state. You're no longer the author of your experience. You're reacting to theirs. That's not intimacy. That's dependence on external validation. This is the clearest signal. If the absence of someone causes more emotion than their presence provides, the bond isn't about connection. It's about relief from withdrawal. You're not chasing love. You're chasing the end of discomfort. Here's the full model. Distance triggers intermittent reinforcement, which floods your brain with dopamine and creates the illusion of significance. If your attachment history primed you for inconsistency, that dopamine spike feels like rightness. Your nervous system stays activated because the loop never closes. The Zeigarnik effect keeps your mind running in the background, and the more you think about them, the more your brain convinces you they matter. But they don't matter more when they're distant, they just occupy more mental real estate. The question isn't, why do I feel this way? The question is, what am I actually responding to? You're not addicted to them, you're addicted to the pattern. And once you see the pattern, it loses its grip. You stop interpreting distance as mystery. You start recognizing it as absence. Not a test, not a sign, just absence. The people worth your attention don't make you guess. They don't regulate your nervous system through scarcity. They show up, not perfectly, but consistently. And when you're with them, you don't feel like you're solving a puzzle. You feel like home. You already know what to do. You just needed to understand why it felt so hard. Now you do.